The internet can be a complex thing with many different parts and things happening all the time. Sometimes, though, things don't work the way we want them to. For example, you might try to visit a website about ceramics that you like, but it's not there or it doesn't show up correctly. Or maybe you want to play a game on a website called Newgrounds, but it won't load properly. These kinds of problems are normal when we use the internet. We have to accept that sometimes things won't work perfectly, especially on smaller websites that don't have as many resources as big companies. Have you ever thought about what would happen if big websites like Google suddenly stopped working? It's easy to assume that they always have a backup plan to keep everything running smoothly, but that's not always the case. Believe it or not, there was a time when people couldn't access Google because their servers crashed. It happened on June 25, 2009, the day when Michael Jackson, the king of pop, had died.
He's unconscious, he's not breathing?
Yes, he's not breathing, sir.
Okay, and he's not conscious either? He's not breathing?
He's not conscious, sir.
Okay.
I tell you, this is what's being reported by KTLA. Apparently, Michael Jackson suffered cardiac arrest this afternoon. He was rushed to UCLA Medical Center.
CNN sources are now saying Michael Jackson is in a coma.
Sometimes, there are moments in history that make the whole world stop and pay attention. People remember exactly where they were and what they were doing when important events like the moon landing or the death of John Lennon happened. Do you remember where you were when Michael Jackson died? I remember exactly where I was when I heard the shocking news. I was in a car, on a road trip, when the radio blared with the announcement that hit me hard. But for many others, they were busy searching on Google, desperately trying to confirm the rumors and hold on to the hope that their beloved pop star hadn't left us so suddenly. People were hoping he would be touring next month, after all. However, even the internet couldn't handle the news of Mr. Jackson's death. For the next few hours, it felt like the internet almost disappeared. It wasn't just Google that went down, but other popular websites too. AOL Instant Messenger stopped working for over 40 minutes, and sites like TMZ, the Los Angeles Times, Yahoo, Twitter, and Wikipedia became completely useless. It was as if someone had flipped a switch and turned off the entire internet. When Michael Jackson left, it felt like he took all the world's information with him. Just before Michael Jackson's death, the internet experienced an unprecedented surge in traffic. It surpassed even the levels seen during the swine flu outbreak or the passing of 70s icon Farrah Fawcett, which occurred just hours before Michael's death. Web traffic in the United States spiked by 48%, and worldwide it increased by 11%. But what exactly happened, and why wasn't the internet prepared for it? Michael's death had a profound impact on an entire generation. It was a collective traumatic experience that marked the end of an era and the beginning of a new one. It transformed our culture and, much like Michael himself, changed the way we connect with one another and unite as a global community. This event also highlighted the limitations of the internet and pushed us to explore technological improvements to ensure such outages would never occur again. Now, pinpointing the exact cause of the crash is challenging since it resulted from many people flooding various online communities simultaneously. It wasn't solely the fault of a single website. However, to uncover more about the incident, we need to identify the first online source that broke the news. The first online source to break the news about Michael Jackson's death was TMZ. Their reporters were stationed near Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center, where Michael was taken when he was in a coma. The condition of Michael's health wasn't entirely surprising to his most devoted fans. Even those who worked closely with him in his last weeks noticed that something was amiss. Filmmaker Kenny Ortega, who was involved in the rehearsals for the Plan This Is It tour, expressed deep concern about Michael's behavior and overall well-being. However, when it was announced that Michael had been airlifted to the hospital in a coma, people began to realize the severity of the situation. Many individuals remained glued to their TV screens, while others remained completely unaware of the unfolding events. TMZ broke the news about Michael Jackson's death only 18 minutes after doctors officially declared him dead. However, since TMZ was not always seen as the most trustworthy source, the information quickly spread through a game of telephone. The Los Angeles Times picked up the story, which was then reported by CNN, Yahoo, and AOL News. As the news spread across multiple sources, more and more people started to hear about it. Within just half an hour, the story was being discussed on the radio and shown on national television. At that point, it became common knowledge. The sudden and shocking nature of Michael's death made it difficult for many people to believe. It felt unreal, almost like a dream. Some questioned whether it was just another case of media exaggeration. The most reliable information could be found through web searches, as people sought clarity amid the confusion. And that was when the internet took a bit of a turn. Google Trends recorded an unprecedented surge in searches related to Michael Jackson. The number of searches was unlike anything ever seen before for any other topic in online history. The searches were coming in rapidly and were remarkably similar. It was so overwhelming that Google mistakenly thought it was experiencing a distributed denial of service (DDoS) attack, which caused the entire website's traffic to come to a standstill. Interestingly, all those searches on Google were what led people to the specific websites they were looking for. TMZ's article about Michael Jackson's death experienced an overwhelming surge in traffic. The web servers couldn't handle the sudden influx of identical-looking traffic, causing the entire TMZ website to crash. With TMZ inaccessible, people turned to other websites for information. CNN saw a five-fold increase in traffic, and their article about Michael garnered 20 million views within just 1 hour, leading to network disruptions. On Twitter, fail whales appeared as the volume of tweets about Michael reached 15% of all tweets at that time. It seemed like everyone was affected by this event. Some turned to secondary sources like Perez Hilton's blog, but even that couldn't withstand the immense internet activity. In just about an hour, the unintentional collective actions of people led to a distributed denial of service (DDoS) effect, causing major news websites to go down, a search engine to become inaccessible, and essentially breaking the internet. It's astonishing to think that a simple search query could cause such chaos in the virtual world. We might assume that by 2009, the internet was well established and should have been prepared for such situations. The same applies to the technological aspects of the internet. Let's start by understanding how a distributed denial of service (DDoS) attack works. Simply put, in a DDoS attack, multiple computers send packets of information to overwhelm a single server simultaneously. Sounds straightforward, right? But how can we distinguish between a DDoS attack and legitimate traffic from a popular website? For instance, Google alone receives approximately 63,000 searches per second. Shouldn't it be constantly under a DDoS attack? Fortunately, computers are capable of distinguishing between the two. DDoS packets typically contain minimal information and display uniform characteristics. In other words, they all look very similar. On the other hand, regular web traffic consists of diverse searches and requests. Over time, websites learn to differentiate between high but natural traffic and abnormal patterns that indicate a DDoS attack. When Michael Jackson passed away, the number of searches about him skyrocketed to 5 million per hour. This was an incredibly high and unprecedented number in internet history. The sudden surge in searches for the same keyword, Michael Jackson, resembled the behavior of a distributed DDoS attack, raising concerns. To conserve bandwidth, Google automatically blocked the traffic, effectively shutting it down. But why did people turn to the internet during such a significant and defining event of the decade? The answer lies in the fact that the internet provided us with instant access to the entire world. This accessibility made us, as humans, more impatient and hungry for information. If someone didn't like what they heard on TV, they could easily go online and find alternative sources. The internet broke the monopoly of a few companies controlling the news. With the internet, everyone became a potential news source, and anyone could express their opinions freely. Unfortunately, the internet also gave rise to celebrity death hoaxes. Some individuals played practical jokes online by creating websites that generated realistic-looking pages announcing the death of a celebrity. Snopes.com, a fact-checking website, discovered that many of these hoaxes originated from a particular website that allowed users to enter a celebrity's name and generate a fake death web page. As a result, many people outside the internet fell for these hoaxes. Since TMZ was not always regarded as a reliable source and had a reputation for sensationalism, those who may have been in denial about Michael's death sought confirmation from more trusted and reputable websites, leading to an overwhelming influx of users online. The spread of misinformation didn't stop at Michael's death. Numerous instances of Wikipedia vandalism related to the subject also emerged. Unsurprisingly, Wikipedia's servers crashed under the immense surge of visitors, marking the highest traffic the site had ever experienced. Considering that more celebrities will eventually pass away, how can we prevent the internet from experiencing such disruptions in the future? While it may be difficult to completely avoid such incidents, we can take measures to mitigate and reduce their impact. One effective method is through the use of CDN servers, which stands for Content Delivery Network. CDNs are specifically designed to optimize the speedy and efficient delivery of information. In the case of a DDoS attack, the CDN servers can distribute the targeted packets to multiple other servers that serve the same content, preventing a crash caused by abnormally high traffic on a single server. This helps maintain stability and prevents service interruptions. A term was even coined for this strange phenomenon of insanely high internet traffic, called the Michael Jackson effect. While we aren't guaranteed to prevent such an incident from ever happening again, we have at least prepared ourselves to make things less detrimental. On that Thursday afternoon, not only did we lose one of the most influential icons of the 20th century, but we realized there was so much more to the internet that we didn't know. We learned a lot and we continue learning every day. So how many people does it truly take to shut down the internet? Well, with its technology constantly changing, there's no way to know for sure, but according to CNN, all it takes is just one person, and that person is Michael Jackson.